A $6 can of WD-40 Malers can quietly prevent repairs worth over $3,000 if you know where and how to use it. But here's the twist. Some of the most common spots people spray it are the ones they absolutely shouldn't. Today we'll break it all down and at the end reveal which version of WD-40 actually delivers and one unsuspecting place it should never ever touch. First up, a way to use WD-40 that even your mechanic might not want you to know. Diagnosing vacuum leaks. Ever had your engine idle weird, sputter at red lights, or throw a random check engine light? Most people don't know this, but one of the most overlooked causes is a vacuum leak. It's small, hidden, and wreaks havoc on your air-fuel ratio, costing you fuel mileage, engine performance, and eventually real money. Here's where WD-40 actually shines. If you spray it near vacuum hoses while the engine's running, a sudden change in idle tells you where the leak is. It's being sucked in, temporarily sealing the gap. No scanner, no guesswork, just you and a $6 can, potentially saving a $150 diagnostic fee and preventing engine damage that could run into the thousands. Here's a tip. Unlike carb cleaner, WD-40 won't turn your engine bay into a fire hazard, and it's safe around plastics and sensors, which makes it the better call for tight spaces. A famous mechanic by the name of Scotty Kilmers used this trick for decades, and he bet on it. You fix the airflow. Now what about the signals? At number 2, protecting weather stripping before it cracks. You ever yank on your car door in winter and feel like it's glued shut? That's your weather stripping quietly breaking down. And the fix gets expensive fast. Leaky seals lead to soaked carpets, mildew, electrical issues, and even a $2,000 repair if water reaches your wiring. Here's the deal. WD-40 Specialist Haas silicone spray is designed specifically to keep those rubber seals soft, water-resistant, and functional. Unlike the standard formula, which contains petroleum that can actually eat away at rubber, this one preserves flexibility and prevents dry cracking. Just a quick spray every few months on clean rubber keeps your doors sealing tight and your interior bone dry. Here's a tip. Don't just spray and forget it. Wipe off the excess with a clean cloth. That thin layer is all it takes to resist water and stop sticking in cold weather. And when your cabin stays quiet, sealed, and mold-free, you've already saved hundreds in hidden damage. Before we move on, go ahead and subscribe. We drop tips that save engines, wallets, and weekends. One click now could save you a $1,000 mistake later. At number 3, restoring faded license plates in seconds. Ever glance at your license plate and thought, when did that get so dull? Between UV rays, road salt, and years of grime, plates fade faster than most people realize. And in some states, an unreadable one could actually get you a ticket. Here's where WD-40 earns its keep. A light spray on the surface lifts built-up dirt, grease, and even rust from the edges, giving it a cleaner, sharper look almost instantly. That dull gray metal back to looking road-worthy in under a minute. No sanding, no repainting. Just wipe it down and you're done. Here's a tip. Remove the plate first for best results. Clean it with warm water and dish soap, then finish with WD-40 and a microfiber cloth. Just don't expect it to bring back reflective shine. It's a cosmetic touch-up, not a full restoration. Still, for the price of a sandwich, it's one of the fastest ways to make your car look better and dodge the $50 fine you didn't see coming. At number 4, protecting electrical connectors the right way. Electrical issues are the kind that sneak up on you. One day your sensors misfire and next you're quoted $700 to replace a corroded ECU connector. The root cause? Often just moisture working its way into electrical contacts over time. Here's the deal. WD-40's original formula was designed to displace water, and that's exactly what makes it so effective at preventing corrosion inside your vehicle's connectors. Just a light spray on clean, powered-off terminals forms a moisture barrier that stops rust before it even starts. A $6 can save you from shelling out over $1,000 for a full wiring harness replacement. Here's a tip. Standard WD-40 works in many cases. But if you're dealing with sensitive electronics or want a zero residue finish, switch to WD-40 Specialist Contact Cleaner. It evaporates fast, leaves no film, and gives long-term protection without buildup. At number 5, loosening rusted bolts without breaking them. There's nothing like the sound of a wrench slipping on a rusted bolt to ruin your day. And if you've ever snapped one mid-repair, you know it's not just frustrating, it's expensive. Here's where WD-40 Specialist Penetrant can be a game changer. Unlike the original formula, this version is built for this exact job. It uses capillary action to slide deep into tight threads and rusted seams, breaking corrosion from the inside out. In controlled torque tests, bolts that took over 500 foot-pounds to loosen when dry dropped to 238 after using WD-40. That's real pressure off your tools and your patience. For the best results, clean the area first, then apply the spray and try loosening within a few minutes. Some DIYers let it soak, but this formula works better when you act fast before it evaporates. Sure, there are cheaper or more aggressive options out there, but for most stuck bolts, this gets the job done cleanly without heat, hacks, or snap knuckles. Now let's talk about the part of your car that gets judged before it even moves. At number 6, bringing flooded engines back to life. There's a moment every driver dreads. Your engine misfires, or worse, doesn't start at all right after a storm, a deep puddle, or even a DIY wash gone wrong. Moisture's made its way inside, and suddenly your ignition system isn't firing right. And yes, if you remember it right, WD-40's original water displacement purpose comes into play here again. Spray it on your wet spark plugs, distributor cap, or electrical connectors, and it'll push the moisture out, restoring function and laying down a rust-inhibiting layer in the process. Remember to disconnect the battery before spraying and make sure the engine is cool. Once dry, reconnect everything and fire it up. You'll often hear the difference before you even feel it. WD-40 won't fix flood damage, but for light exposure or moisture intrusion, it's a garage hero. Instead of a tow bill or diagnostics, you're back on the road with a $6 can and a little know-how. You'd be surprised how many people use WD-40 in ways that end up costing them thousands. Let's talk about the first big one. At number 7, removing tree sap without wrecking your paint. You ever notice a sticky blob on your car that just won't budge, and then a few weeks later the paint underneath looks dull or discolored? That's not dirt, that's tree sap. And it's not just annoying, it's chemically eating through your clear coat. Here's where WD-40 quietly earns its stripes. Its solvent base helps soften hardened sap without scrubbing, letting you wipe it away before it bakes in and starts causing real damage. All you need is a cool surface, a few sprays directly on the sap, and a microfiber cloth. Let it sit for a minute or two, then wipe gently. Follow up with a proper wash and fresh coat of wax, and you've just avoided a $500 polishing job or a $2,000 repaint. Here's a tip. Always wash the area afterward to remove any oily residue, and never let WD-40 sit too long under sunlight. Used right, it's a budget-friendly fix for a problem that creeps up faster than most drivers realize. Here's something people see every day but rarely think to clean. At number 8, cleaning and shining chrome without the fuss. If you've ever tried polishing chrome bumpers or wheels, you know it's either a 3-hour project or a slick shortcut if you know the right trick. Here's one most people overlook, WD-40. Thanks to its blend of mineral spirits and lubricating oils, WD-40 can cut through road grime, water spots, and even old tar on chrome. Spray it on, wipe it off with a microfiber cloth, or pair it with zero-variant steel wool for tougher spots, and that dull metal starts gleaming like it just rolled off the lot. Despite what you might have heard online, WD-40 doesn't contain acids. It's safe on chrome and actually adds a protective layer that repels water and delays rust. Some riders even use it on chrome every few months to keep rims and guards looking showroom fresh. For a few bucks a can, it beats expensive polishes and cuts your cleaning time way down without sacrificing shine. At number 9, using WD-40 inside your engine. It sounds wild, but some people are actually pouring WD-40 into their engines, thinking it works like motor oil. And yeah, I get the logic. It's slick, it stops rust, and it saved you on stuck bolts or squeaky hinges. But here's the hard truth. It's not oil, it's a solvent. Here's the deal. Engine oil isn't just about lubrication. It manages heat, protects against metal-on-metal wear, and suspends contaminants. WD-40, it evaporates quickly, offers zero thermal stability, and was never meant to run under high-pressure, high-heat engine conditions. Use it here, and you're looking at overheating, bearing failure, piston seizure, or worst case, total engine collapse. Even worse, WD-40 is flammable inside a hot engine. That's not a risk, that's a liability. Repairs for this mistake can range from $3,000 to over $10,000, depending on how deep the damage goes. 1 wrecks your internals. This next one messes with the one system that's supposed to stop you. At number 10, spraying WD-40 on scratches, hoping they'll disappear. You've probably seen the trick online. Spray a little WD-40 on a car scratch and boom, it's gone. And yeah, at first glance, it looks like it works. That oily sheen fills the scratch just enough to make it vanish under the right lighting. I get it. It seems like a cheap fix when you don't want to stare at clear coat scuffs all week. But here's the deal. WD-40 doesn't remove scratches. It masks them temporarily and worse leaves behind a greasy residue that attracts dust and grime. Over time, that buildup can wear down your clear coat, dull your paint, and even lead to discoloration. In some cases, users ended up needing full panel repaints, costing anywhere from $300 to over $3,000. Here's what you should do instead. Use a proper scratch repair kit like McGear's or Turtle Wax. These are built for paint correction, not illusion. And if it's deeper than a surface mark, call a pro before it spreads. WD-40 is a champ for many things, but using it as a magic paint fixer, that's one shortcut that backfires. The final one, spraying WD-40 on your brakes. Someone on Reddit once said, I got WD-40 all over my disc brakes, and now when I brake, I go faster. It's funny until it isn't. Look, I get it. Brakes squeak, rotors get rusty, and when you've got a $6 can of WD-40 nearby, it's tempting to treat it like a magic fix. But here's the problem. WD-40 is a lubricant, and your brake system depends on friction. Spray it on your rotors or pads, and you're literally reducing your stopping power. And it doesn't stop there. That residue can soak into your brake pads, contaminating them permanently. Worse, it can deteriorate rubber caliper seals and brake lines, leading to fluid leaks, system failure, or total brake loss. Repairs expect $250 to $500 per axle for pads and rotors. If you ruin the calipers or lines, you're looking at over $1,000. Here's what you should do instead. Grab a dedicated brake cleaner like WD-40's own specialist brake and parts cleaner. It's built for this and leaves no residue behind. Before we wrap, here's what matters most. WD-40 works wonders. When you use the right version in the right place, the original's great for general fixes, but for real results, go specialist. Contact cleaner for electronics, silicone spray for rubber, and penetrant for rust. And if there's one rule to remember, never spray WD-40 on parts that rely on friction, heat sensing, or calibration, like brake rotors or oxygen sensors. What fixes a squeak in one spot can cause chaos in another. Use it smart, and that $6 can might just save you a $3,000 mistake. You've got the WD-40 hacks. Now, let's expose the scams. Our next video dives into 15 shady tricks mechanics still use so you never fall for them again. And that's the truth about WD-40. When you use it right, it's a $6 lifesaver. But when you use it wrong, it's a $3,000 disaster waiting to happen. Here at CarFix Free, I show you the smart fixes that save engines, wallets, and weekends, without falling for myths or mechanic scare tactics. And trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. 15 shady tricks mechanics still use to empty your wallet. If you own a car, that video is non-negotiable. So hit subscribe, ring the bell, and join the CarFix Free family. Around here, we don't just drive, we drive smarter. See you in the next one.